Alright, so we got Mercury and Libra at the moment. So of course we're going to be basically in the process of thinking, communicating, and analyzing. Of course, creating a form of equilibrium and balance, and of course formulating and of course establishing relationships where we can pretty much prioritize when it comes to our intellect and of course our ways of relating, communication wise. So communication is going to be key. And of course we're dealing with a grand electron within the sky at the moment. So we're going to be basically communicating some form of peace, harmony, balance, or utilizing some form of forgiveness. Whether we got into some situationships when it comes to our ways of relationships with a person, place, a thing, an enemy, a love partner, or family member, and things that matter. Wherever you got Mercury and Libra in your charts, this is going to be the area and location that you're going to kind of like, start coming up with new ways of creating equilibrium and balance, or just creating new relationships or new ways to relate. Now, if this is in your first house, you are a Libra ascendant. So you're going to be coming up with a new way of thinking and communicating, and of course creating some form of equilibrium and balance and peace and harmony when it comes to your personal life, your personal relationships, and of course the personal people, places, and things within your life. Now be aware you're going to basically be facing some oppositions and some trauma when it comes to your seventh house, your relationship, which can kind of like throw you off mentally. Now if you got this in your second house, you're going to be coming up with a new way of communicating and relating about the things you value and the people you value, or creating peace and harmony and forgiveness when it comes to the things you value during this time. Also, you're gonna be getting hit with oppositions when it comes to Mars and Aries, and Chiron and Aries in your eighth house, which is gonna be basically some secret deep desires that you had attachments to, which can previously kind of like come back up and kind of like take you off task when it comes to playing good seeds with Mercury and Libra. If you got Mercury and Libra in your third house, this is coming up with a new way of creating peace, harmony, and balance when it comes to your environment, your surroundings, your friends, your siblings, your neighbors, and the people, places, and things that you have familiar connections with or have interactions with. Now, you're going to be basically going through some oppositions and some differences when it comes to the things you believe in and your experiences in totality, which can kind of like throw you off when it comes to how your way of gaining peace, harmony, and balance in these areas. If you got this in your fourth house, you're gonna be pretty much thinking and communicating and coming up with a new way of dealing with partnerships and privacy, and of course balance when it comes to home, family, and the individuals that you're kind of like creating a form of establishments with when it comes to those roots. Now, there's going to be Mars and Chiron is going to basically bring some trauma within your 10th house, which can kind of like affect your status when it comes to your way of relating and communicating with home and family. Now, if you got this in your 5th house, you're going to be pretty much coming up with a new way of thinking, communicating, and analyzing about relationships and romance and love affairs. Now, be aware, your 11th house can kind of like throw you off, which can be associations, past associations of past people, places, and things you can. Now, when it comes to Mercury and Libra being in your 6th house, see, Mercury falls here. So you may basically put yourself into circumstances and situations of coming up with new ways of creating relationships, or thinking and communicating about relationships, about your career, your work, health, and of course, worrying a lot when it comes to this perspective. So it's like a stay down until you come up when it comes to these energies, and it's kind of like don't self-doubt yourself. Now you're going to basically be getting opposed by Mars, and you're going to be basically having some trauma within your dreams, your fantasies, and your subconscious, which can basically pop up on you. So be aware of that. Now, if you got this in your 7th house, it's home here, it's comfortable here, but also you are in this house right here, you're gonna be creating some form of new peace and balance and harmony, or communicating and relating about that when it comes to the people, places, and things within your life. Now, what's gonna kind of like throw you off is gonna basically be yourself, or your personal life, or your personal issues can kind of like throw off your relationships. AKA, if you got any soul ties, clear that shit up now, especially if you're starting something new on this sign. If you got this in your 8th house, you're gonna be coming up with new ways of thinking and communicating about desires and things that you have deep connections with, or your sexual urges. Now, if you got this, now you're gonna be basically going through some oppositions and some trauma when it comes to the things that's on the surface, or the things you value, or the people that value you, which can kind of like bring trauma and mistakes during this time, which can kind of like throw you off. Now, if you got this in your 9th house, you're gonna be thinking and communicating in a whole new way about experiences, belief, and moralities, and of course belief systems. Now, yeah, you're gonna go through some trauma and some mistakes when it comes to your environment and the things that you surround yourself with, or people, places, and things. So be aware of what you're surrounding yourself with, because it can kind of like throw off your relationships when it comes to long distance travel or long-term relationships all around the world. And if you got this in your 10th house, your status, your reputation, of course, what you're going to be known for, you're going to be thinking and communicating and, of course, relating about this when it comes to business. And you may basically go to the extreme when it comes to thinking about this too as well. Now, now you can kind of like make mistakes when it comes to creating a home, creating a family, or dealing with your home and family or privacy during this time. So now, try not to let personal business and family business get mixed in. Try to like separate these two and create balance and peace and harmony in both. Now, if you got this in your 11th house, you're going to be coming up with a whole new way of thinking and communicating and relating when it comes to the things that you associate yourself with, the people you associate yourself with, and your networking skills and technology. Now, be aware. You could basically be dealing with some trauma and some mistakes when it comes to the things that bring fun, entertainment, enjoyment, gambling, and romance. And last but not least, if you got this in your 12th house, you're going to go to the extreme when it comes to thinking and communicating about new dreams, new fantasies, and new desires. And also be aware you can make mistakes when it comes to your work, your health, your routines, the things that you do on a day-to-day basis when it comes to your 6th house. So create peace and harmony and balance in that area, you'll be all right.